BearsFan092 here with a guide for breeding in Pokemon Black or White with standard abuse. This guide will detail how to get a flawless Timber using a flawless Ditto and a random parent. First, we need to know our parameters and how to hit standard seeds. See the beginning of my Wild Pokemon video to see how to do that. Keep in mind how your timer 0 behaves when using button presses. We also need 2 Chadots with chatters as identical as you can make them. We'll also need a timer program. In this case, I'll use Eon Timer by ToastPlusOne. We also need RNG Reporter. I'm using 9.95 in this video. If we want shininess, you'll need your ID and SID, which can be found by uploading a Pokemon that has you as the original trainer to Pokecheck.org. For simplicity, we'll need a flawless Ditto of any nature. This can be downloaded off of Pokecheck as well. Lastly, be familiar with Black and White breeding mechanics if you're going for a Dream World ability or trying to use an Everstone. This information can be found on Bulbapedia. Open up RNG Reporter and go to the 5th generation Time Finder. Go under the Eggs tab. Leave the month as it is unless you have difficulty finding seeds for shiny Pokemon later on. If you are going for shiny Pokemon, leave the min-max frame advances at their defaults. If going for a shiny, increase the max frame result. I prefer putting it at 80 if I'm doing that, but it really could be any value depending on how many frame advancements you want to do with Chatot. If you are using international parents, check the correct box. Since we'll be using Ditto as a parent, be sure to check the Ditto parent box. For IVs, set them as you need them. I'm going to make this Timber flawless in Trick Room, so I'll set most IVs to 31. I left the special attack untouched and set the speed to 0. I want a Brave Timber to have Guts, so I looked in RNG Reporter's Pokedex function and saw Guts is ability 0 for Timber. I set the fields in the Time Finder with this in mind. If you want a shiny, input your ID and SID into the proper fields and check the shiny only box. If going for a shiny, I recommend having 2 flawless parents to make things easier, and have one of the parents be the nature of the target and holding an Everstone. If doing this, set the Everstone nature to the target in RNG Reporter. Under the DS Parameters tab, make sure your parameters are correct for your button presses. With button presses, my timer 0 is C7D, and without button presses, it is C7C. In order to give myself more combinations, I'll search the button presses, so I check them in this window. Go back to the Eggs tab and hit search. You'll probably get a lot of results of going for a non-shiny, so feel free to cancel the search fairly early. If you get no results when going for a shiny, consider increasing the max frame or changing the month. In both cases, pick a spread, right-click it, and copy the seed to clipboard. In RNG Reporter's main window, set the method to Breeding BW or its international counterpart depending on your parents. Paste the seed in, and click Calculate Initial PID RNG Frame on the right side of the screen. If using an Everstone and or a Ditto, indicate so on the main window. Once everything is set, click Generate. Check the frame indicated in the Time Finder to make sure the result in the main window matches. Once you've done that, all we have to do is hit our seed and advance the frame. I'll see you on camera. Okay, now take your seed's time. In my case, it's May 1st at 3:31 a.m. at 58 seconds, and enter the target seconds into your calibrated Eon timer. And also, I have to hold start as I load the game. So I've got my DS set here to 3:31 on the set date, and I need to start my DS clock and Eon timer at the same time. So excuse me. Okay, so the clock's running, and I'm going to load the game from the hard menu when this hits 0, and as I do so, I'm going to hold start, and I'll cut back to you guys when we get down to pretty close to 0. Okay, so Eon timer is pretty close to 0, and when it does hit 0, I'm going to hit A to load the game. I'm holding start right now. There, the game's loading. I'm still holding start. And once the Game Freak logo shows up, I can let go of the buttons. Okay, so now we go through our usual spiel, and we want to start the game without the sea gear. And what we want to do, because there are NPCs in the area, we want to pause the game immediately on loading, so we're going to do that now. Okay, so the game's paused. And because even though we pause it quickly, there's still going to be an effect from NPCs. Okay, if we go back to RNG Reporter here, you see it says our starting frame is 41. Most likely that's going to be false because we have NPCs in the area. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to Chait out a few times, and we're going to identify where we are based off that. That sounds like a mid to me. That was like 3 mids in a row, and I have like 4 mids in a row. So if the next one is high, that means I just listened to 46. If it's another mid, it's probably 45. That was high pitched. I'm guessing the next one's going to be low. That was low pitched. I'm not sure how well you guys can pick that up. So because the low pitch just happened, that means I just had PID RNG frame 47 occur, and I want to get down to 73. So that means I'm gonna keep listening to Chait chats until the 72nd frame passes. So you want to stop one before the target frame. So I'm gonna advance, and I'll get back to you guys when I do that. Okay, so I just did the Chait call for frame 72. So what I want to do now is you want to back out of the summary. Do not unpause the game quite yet. And what you want to do is, as soon as you get out of the pause menu, you want to collect the egg right away. So it's going to take some button mashing on our part. So here we go. Alright. So we're going to collect the egg. And now just hatch it and see what you get. So I'll cut back to you guys once the egg's hatched. Okay, so here's the little timber, and I hatch it, and it's brave and somewhat vain. This is a pretty good indication that we got it. However, with breeding, it's not quite as certain because oftentimes you're passing multiple IVs from like a flawless parent. So I'm going to level this thing up a little bit and check its IVs, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I leveled it up to about 15, and according to RNG Reporter, the IVs are all indicative that we hit our desired seed and target. The special attack even was within, it was originally predicted to be 22, and RNG Reporter says that the special attack is between 17 and 23, so that all fits. The speed fits, and all the other stats could be flawless. So most likely we got it. So that concludes how to get flawless Pokemon via breeding with standard abuse. See you around.